Good morning, everyone. Let us start with day 29, part 1 of our regular SAP FICO session. Today, we'll be discussing about the asset accounting configuration, wherein we will configure the chart of depreciation and set up the depreciation areas. But before we begin with our regular asset accounting configuration, let us try to understand the concept of currency types. So, the currency types could be 10, 11, 12, 30, 31, 32. These are all the currency type that we'll be dealing with. So the first character of the currency type represents what currency it is, wherein 1 represents it is a company code currency and 3 represents it is a group currency. So these 3 represents company code currency, and these 3 would represent group currency. Coming to next, the second digit represents the kind of valuation. So 0 represents legal valuation, 1 represents group valuation, and 2 represents the profit center valuation. So if we take 10, 10 is nothing but the legal valuation, 11 is nothing but the group valuation, 12 is PC valuation, and again legal valuation, group valuation, and PC valuation. With this, we understand that 10, 11, 12 are company code currency with legal, group, and profit center valuation respectively, and 30, 31, 32 are in group currency and legal valuation, group valuation, and profit center valuation respectively. When I talk about legal valuation, the individual financial statements at the company code level is prepared based on the legal valuation. The group valuation means the consolidated financial statements are prepared based on group valuation, wherein the intercompany profit elimination happens. The profit center valuation means the financial statements are drawn at the level of profit center, and the transactions that are performed between the profit centers within a company code are considered for profit center level financial statements generation. So with this, we understood the concept of currency types in SAP, which we'll be using in our scenario. Coming to the next is the asset accounting configuration. So for setting up the depreciation area and chart of depreciation, we have these 10 steps which we have to follow. Among these, setting up the representative ledger is the first step, in which we have these 6 configuration steps individually. So altogether, to set up the chart of depreciation, we have 10 steps, and for setting up the representative ledger alone, we have 6 steps. Now let us try to understand the meaning and the reason why we have to do each of those configuration. The first step that I have listed down is to configure the representative ledger. We already know the concept of ledger. Different ledger represent different set of books that an organization prepares. And in our previous session, we have designed ledger 0L, ledger RI already. This is leading ledger used for all company codes, right? And RI is non-leading ledger used for India. We also know leading ledger follows Jan to December as our headquarter is in US, and non-leading ledger follows April to March to comply with the local reporting requirement. Now, since in our company code we are following two different accounting year or financial year or fiscal year variant, asset accounting does not comply or does not suit with the companies using more than one fiscal year variant. It doesn't support. So from asset accounting perspective, SAP has provided the concept of representative ledger by which we are allowed to, and the SAP support multiple fiscal year variants. So representative ledger is a special ledger which is also a standard ledger which allows setting up different fiscal year for a company code. So like 0L and RI, we will create RG as representative ledger. This is also a non-leading ledger and representative ledger. It will have all the characteristics of leading ledger like fiscal year variant, posting period variant, but accounting principle will be of local ledger, that is RI. So this is the major characteristics of the representative ledger that we will be creating. So one of the step is to create the representative ledger over here. So let's go in SAP and see the characteristics that form part of the representative ledger. I have logged into the system. Let's go into the SPRO, SAP reference IMG, go into financial accounting global setting, ledgers, and define settings for ledgers and currency types. So the first ledger is 0L. The second ledger that we have already designed is RI. RI is non-leading ledger. Let's go into 0L and check the setting for the 0L which we have already created and used earlier. Going into the company code setting, we see that we have assigned our company code RCII to the ledger 0L, and here you see currency type 10 is coming from the currency that is assigned in the company code, and currency type 30 is coming from the currency that is assigned in the controlling area. Now rest of the currencies 31, 32, 11 and 12, Why have I said this here? Because in our earlier discussion, when we were having the discussion on the requirements of our company code, we told that we want to see the material valuation in legal group and profit center valuation, and our reporting currencies are INR and USD. So INR is a company code currency in case of Indian company code, and USD is a group reporting currency for us. And we want to see the material valuation in three different valuations: legal, group and profit center valuation. Due to this particular reason, we have to additionally set 31, which represents group currency and group valuation, 32 which represents group currency and profit center valuation, 30 represents group currency legal valuation, and 10 represents company code currency and legal valuation. Setting up 11 and 12 is a technical requirement to use 31 and 32. As you see in the drop down, if I show, you have multiple currency types, but we are not using all those, right? We can set up the currency types here, only those currency types which you have set up over here. Currency conversion setting at the company code level. This is nothing but currency conversion setting at the company code level. So here you see, let me show you, clicking on position, and for the IRCII, which is our company code, you see there are 5 rows: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have set up 11, 12, 30, 31, 32. So the currency that we set up here, we will be able to configure at the company code level, only those currencies which are set up over here. So what is the setup that we have done in currency conversion at the company code level? We told whenever there is a conversion to be made into the group currency, be it any valuation, the source currency onto which the exchange rate will be applied is my company code currency. So the conversion will happen from the transaction currency to the company code currency, and from the company code's currency to all those currencies and valuations. And what is the exchange rate type that the system will consider? It is the average rate. The exchange rate type M will be used. We will discuss about the exchange rate types in our days to come, but as of now, you may remember that exchange rate type M, which is the standard translation at average rate, will be used for converting the company code currency into other currencies. And the date based on which the exchange rate will be picked is the posting date. The day on which we post into SAP will be considered for getting the exchange rate, and based on that exchange rate the conversion will happen from the company code currency to the other currencies, for example the group currencies, and the conversion will happen in the real time is what we have set here. Based on this, and based on the requirements that we had to see the material valuation in group profit center and legal valuation, we have set up these 31, 32 and 11 and 12. 11 and 12 are the technical requirement to use 31 and 32. We also understood that 10 has come from the company code assignment and 30 has come from the controlling area assignment, which are not editable over here. I hope the use and the setting of this currency is clear to you. The next is this particular part. This is the part which we use for asset accounting. For the asset accounting perspective, we want to see the value in INR and in USD, both in the legal valuation. So you see, for the asset accounting we can use only three currencies, of which we'll be utilizing 10 and 30, the company code currency and the group currency in our case. And for the other financial postings, we will use all those currency and valuation types based on our requirement. And going to next, and you see only the leading ledger has the setup for the asset accounting configuration. If we go in the RI, the non-leading ledger, and go into the company code setting, we can see we have only one set of currencies, that 10, 30, 31, 32, 11 and 12. We do not have the another set of currencies for asset accounting in the non-leading ledger. Okay. The third ledger that we were talking of is the representative ledger, which is nothing but RG. I have copied RI and created RG, and all the settings are exactly same as RI, like 0L, like discussed earlier, that the characteristics of the the representative ledger holds the characteristics of the leading ledger, like fiscal year variant, posting period variant, but we have mentioned that the accounting principle is coming from the local ledger. So we see the fiscal year variant is K4, which is January to December. Posting period variant is also the one that is set up for January to December, but the accounting principle is the local accounting standard, that is INTA. So this is the setup for the representative ledger, which allows us to use multiple fiscal year variant for our company. So we have created this. Let me mark this as green. The next step, and we have also completed this, wherein we have set up additional currencies for 0L and RI, and currency type 10 and 30 for asset accounting in 0L. Yeah. And also we have discussed the currency conversion setup at the company code level, wherein we understood that all the currencies will be converted from the company code currency. From the transaction currency, everything will be converted to company code currency, and from the company code currency, the conversion will happen into the other currencies that we will be using. The next thing is creation of the group ledger. So this group ledger will be creating and assign the representative ledger and non-leading ledger together. So this ledger group will hold RI and RG. So we will create one group called RGA, and under this we will set up RI and RG as the ledgers, and we will make RG as the representative ledger. So as of now we will simply create the code, this RGA code. We will not assign the ledgers because there are sequence of steps which we have to follow. Let's go back, back, go back, and come to the definition of the ledger group. Simply create a new entry and provide the code as RGA and RCI representative group is what we can set up. But since I have already created, I will show you the group that is already created. So RGA, you see RGA is the group which we have created. With this we completed this particular step. Next step is to assign the accounting principles. In our earlier session we have already assigned the accounting principle, wherein we assigned RCFR, which is nothing but IFRS accounting principle to ledger 0L, and we assigned INDA to R1, which is the non-leading ledger, right? Let us see those configuration of assigning the ledgers to the accounting principle, which is under the parallel accounting. Under the parallel accounting, go for assigning the accounting principle to ledger groups. VC, RC, FR, which is the IFRS accounting principle for us, is assigned to ledger 0L. And the next accounting principle, INDA, was assigned to R1, which we have to change now because we are using the representative ledger. Under RGA representative ledger, we will have RI and RG, both the ledgers. So instead of assigning to RI, we will assign the local accounting principle at the group level. So I have changed the configuration of assignment of INDA to RGA because RGA will hold both the ledgers. So this particular step is also completed. The next step is assigning the ledgers into the ledger group. Let's go back into the definition of the ledger group and see the ledgers that are assigned in RGA. Select this and go in the ledger assignment. Here you see the ledger RG and RI are assigned to RGA, wherein RG, the one that is newly created, is the representative ledger. And we know the representative ledger hold the characteristics of the leading ledger except the accounting principle. Let's go back. With this we have completed this step as well. Moving next. So we have completed this particular step and we know the logic why we need to create the representative ledger in asset accounting. So if we had been using only one financial year variant, we do not need to perform the steps for creation of the representative ledger. But since in our example we are using multiple fiscal year variant, which is April to March and January to December, there was a need to create the representative ledger because without representative ledger, asset accounting doesn't support two fiscal year variants. Further, we also understood that asset accounting supports only three currencies, whereas financial accounting supports more than three currencies, which are apart from company code currency and group currency, it supports 8 more currencies, which we can see over here. So apart from company code currency and group currency, you have 8 more freely defined currencies. This freely defined currency is 8. So altogether in the financial accounting you can use 10 currencies, and in the asset accounting you can use only 3 currencies. Let's go back. Now we will move into core configuration for the asset accounting, which are the chart of depreciation and the depreciation areas. Now let's first discuss the meaning of all those terminologies, and then we will move to understand the reason for configuring these objects, and then how we do configure these objects practically into the system. First is the chart of depreciation. Chart of depreciation is nothing but the list of depreciation areas. So if we understand the meaning of depreciation area, then we can understand the meaning of the chart of depreciation. Let's move to understand the meaning of depreciation areas. Like ledger represents different set of books that are prepared in any organization. The depreciation area represents different ways or different setup based on which we evaluate asset accounting for different ledgers. So with this we understand that depreciation areas are the rules for valuating the assets. As an example, we can have one depreciation area for evaluating the assets as per straight line method, the another depreciation area for evaluating the assets as per WDV, which is the written down value method. So with this we understand that if we want to evaluate our assets differently, then we must use different depreciation areas. And in S4 HANA asset accounting, there is a standard rule to create the depreciation areas, that is the number of ledgers that you are using, which is 2 our example, and the number of currency that we use for asset accounting, which is 2. So at least 4 depreciation areas we have to create in our example. More than 4 can be created, but at least 4 is required. So this is the meaning of the depreciation area and chart of depreciation. And editing the chart of depreciation description, this is core configuration step which is not required to understand as of now. The next is assigning the non-taxable transactions to the tax codes. As we already understood in the previous session that not all the transactions are taxable, some are taxable and some are non-taxable. We have to assign the default tax codes that we have created in the earlier session for the non-taxable asset acquisitions or asset sales. The next is specifying the use of parallel currency. As we already know, for the asset accounting we are using 10 and 30 as the currency types. So to the 4 depreciation areas that we will be creating as per the understanding of the depreciation area, we have to assign the currency types as well. Which depreciation area represents which currency? So that is nothing but the specifying the use of parallel currency. The next step is transfer of APC and transfer of depreciation. As we will be creating 4 depreciation areas, so we should specify which depreciation area is the base and which depreciation area takes the value from another depreciation area with the conversion based on the exchange rates. So this is what we set up in these 2 steps, wherein we specify which is the base for transferring the value to the other depreciation area. The next is assigning the chart of depreciation to the company code and setting up the depreciation area currency like INR, USD. So these are all the core steps by which we can design the chart of depreciation. Let's move into the system to configure this. So for this, within financial accounting, we have to go to asset accounting, and then in the asset accounting we have organization structure. So within organization structure, we should go into the copying the reference chart of depreciation and depreciation areas. We do not have the step to create the depreciation area because country wise the standard chart of depreciation is provided, and by copying those we can create our own chart of depreciation. So just click on this and click on copy reference chart of depreciation. You can utilize this copy organization object, and then you can send, you can specify from which chart of depreciation you want to copy to your chart of depreciation. So we can select any of those and delete the unnecessary chart of depreciation and utilize only the chart of depreciation that we have. The next step is for specifying the description of the chart of depreciation, because so this is the code and this is the description. So the initial description would be coming from the chart of depreciation from which you have copied, and then you have to come back and change the description. So we copied and created RCIZ as our chart of depreciation, and we have changed the description to RCII chart of description, which is the COD. So this is the first and second step. Next step is copying or deleting the depreciation areas. So once we copy, we will have some unnecessary depreciation areas which we can delete and then create our new. So in the from the copied chart of depreciation, you can delete all the depreciation areas except one. One is standard, which you cannot delete. So the rest of the depreciation areas will be created by copying one. So you simply click on this and create and copy and edit the parameters to create the new depreciation area. In our example, we have this 4 depreciation area, and let us try to understand the characteristics of each of these. We say that depreciation area 1 represents IFRS, which is assigned to ledger 0L, which is a leading ledger, and this area provides the asset reports and records the asset transactions in company code currency. Okay, that is the reason we have accounting principle that is assigned is RCFR, and we already know that RCFR is assigned to the 0L, based on which this ledger assignment is taken from the accounting principle assignment over here. The next is we say that this posting will happen in real time. That is, the posting in company code currency for IFRS will happen in real time in our case, and it will be posted into financial accounting. The next is represents IFRS, which is assigned to ledger 0L and currency type 30, which is nothing but the group currency. So RCFR represents IFRS for us, which is also assigned to ledger 0L, and we set up that this area doesn't post. The reason is it is just a conversion of the company code currency. So it takes the value from area 01. So in further configuration, we will specify that depreciation area 2 will take the value from area 01. The next depreciation area that we have is for Indian local standard, that is INDA, which is assigned to ledger R1, and the currency that is INR, which represents the company code currency. And for this we are using the INDA, which is the Indian accounting standard Ind AS, and we also know that INDA is assigned to the ledger group, that is RGA, which holds R1 and RG in our example. We have mentioned that since this is in a company code, we mentioned that this will also post in the real time, and the next company code, the next currency type 30 with local ledger with local principal will not be posting, but it will be taking the value from depreciation area 03. If you want to check further details of each of those depreciation area, we can navigate by double click on each of the depreciation area, wherein we can see under chart of depreciation RCII, we have the depreciation area 01, which this is the description for that, and we have assigned the accounting principle. Based on assignment of the accounting principle, the target ledger group is automatically derived, and we say this is a real depreciation area and it posts in real time. So this is the major setting in each of the depreciation areas, and all the depreciation areas are real depreciation areas. The only difference in currency type 10, it posts in real time. In currency type 30, it doesn't post, but it is only the converted value. So this is the setting in the depreciation areas. So this completes the third step of this particular node for copy the reference chart of depreciation or depreciation areas. The next step is to, so we have completed these three steps. Let me highlight in some other color. The next is assigning the non-taxable transactions. Come into the integration with the GL accounts, and here assign the input tax indicator for non-taxable acquisitions. Here for our company code, we have I2 and O2 from the previous sessions that have 0% tax rate, which we have assigned to our company code, which will be defaulted for non-taxable transactions. So this is also completed. The next step is specifying the use of parallel currencies. So let's go into the general valuation and currencies, and here we have the specify the use of parallel currency node, wherein we say that depreciation area 01 is the base, and depreciation area 2 represents the group currency, and depreciation area 3 is the base, and 4 represents the group currency. This is the setup that we have, and we also told the system that depreciation area 2 so take its value from depreciation area 1, and depreciation area 4 so take its value from depreciation area 3, and we also specified that the terms should be identical, only it is the converted value, yeah, for the APC and for the depreciation both. Let's go back. After this step, we have the next step of setting the transferring of APC and the transfer of depreciation. For this, let us navigate into the another node for setting this up. So this we have under the depreciation areas. So under the depreciation areas, if we come to specify the transfer of APC value, we can see that depreciation area 01 is the base represents 00, and depreciation area 2 takes the value from 01, and depreciation area 4 takes the value from 03, and it takes the identical value, it is just the converted value. So basis the setting that we do here, the configuration has moved to this particular step, specifying the use of parallel depreciation, where you can see the details. And here in at this step you have configured that depreciation area 2 is for group currency. Next step that we have is, after these two and this as well, we will assign the chart of depreciation to our company code. So we have that over here, assigning the chart of depreciation to the company code. It is a very simple step. Simply go in your company code and put the chart of depreciation that you have created and click on save. After this step, we have the next step of assigning the depreciation area currency. which is under the currency. Define the depreciation area currency. The reason this step is the end, because before assigning the chart of depreciation to your company code, you will not be able to see your company code over here. Only after the chart of depreciation is assigned to your company code, you will be able to see your company code over in this particular node. So that's the reason this node or this configuration is the last step. Select this particular company code and go into the depreciation area currency, wherein you see and you set the depreciation area 2 represents USD, which is the corporate currency in our case, and for depreciation area 1 and 3, which is for INR, will be automatically set. Let's go back. So with this we completed the basis for asset accounting, which is nothing but the chart of depreciation and the depreciation area configuration. I understand that today's session was a bit lengthy, but this is the major configuration from the asset accounting perspective, on which most of the learners or most of the consultants even are not clear on the concept. I hope with this now you have much more clarity over setting up the asset accounting and the reasons for doing each of those configuration steps practically. And with this you will be able to hold or sit in the workshop discussions and design the depreciation areas that will be useful for your client. So with this I am closing for the day by saying that we have covered not only part 1 but also part 2 in this session itself, and let us close for the day. We'll meet again in the next session. Thank you.